quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, The Roots of Ruin, episode 76. I was about to say 706. That's not the correct number. We have been doing this for a while, but not that long. My name is Lars Casteen. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm the game magistrate over here, and I'm also the host of this podcast. It's nice to see you listening to this podcast. That's right,
We are watching you.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
And you have no privacy. First up on the list, let's meet all of these people. It is David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here.
Good that time, and hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Armat Humphreys is here.
Good that time, everybody. And hello, and thanks for having me, as always.
Are you thanking me or are you thanking the listener?
All of it.
All of the above. Yeah.
Why limit your thanks, right?
I'm
Thanksgiving
just
season.
super grateful to be here playing some games with friends.
Okay, good. I love it. What a good attitude. You get 5 hero points.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Fair.
You just got to melt my heart. Zoe Chernicoff is here.
I am. Hello. Are we doing the grateful thing now?
No, we're not doing I mean, do you want to do it? Yeah, do whatever you want.
Well, anytime, I feel like now we've gotten into sort of a trumping grateful thing, right? I think of Groundhog Day. We're not at Groundhog Day yet when this will air, but it's a favorite movie of mine. Love Bill Murray, all in on Bill Murray. And for folks who don't know, he goes through kind of learning how to make the day a perfect day because Groundhog Day repeats. And at one point he decides as he's trying to woo Andy McDowell with some sort of sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist, I think is the drink.
Is that the drink that they
That's
have?
the drink. That's her drink.
That's
really disgusting.
No, it's
a gross
delicious.
drink.
I love sweet vermouth on the rocks with a twist.
With a twist?
We need to get
Yes.
into this. This is a
All right.
controversy that we
We'll
need
come
to
back
resolve.
to that. That can be the real discussion. But he learns that she always toasts to world peace. And I feel like you can't ever trump anyone more than being like, I'm grateful for the moments where we find world peace. So anyways, that's
It's true. If you're looking to blow somebody out the door with your
no one, you
with your
can't ever be like,
thankfulness.
well, but I like food or whatever, right? There's no.
Yeah, there's nothing better than world peace. That's why.
No.
That's why we've got it. That's why
That's
it's
why
just
it's
happening
here.
all the
That's
time.
why we've set ourselves about. Yep.
Robin Lange is also here.
Good hat time.
Oh, it's good hat time.
Good hat time. Because it's, the pilgrim hats.
Because everyone, those are going back into storage now,
The
though,
pilgrim
right?
hats, but not the culturally appropriating Native American hats, please.
Right. No. Was there a better hat time than the pilgrim hat time? Was that the best hat time?
I feel like the Renaissance was good hat time with all those that
was technically the Renaissance
poofy...
still.
Oh.
The Age of Exploration was still the tail end of the Renaissance.
Oh, I suppose that's true.
I imagine good hat time, the best hat time came at very different points on each continent.
Well, you know what good hat time I like? I've been watching a lot of Korean dramas recently, and I love...
Have you been?
Which
Yes.
Korean dramas?
Oh, man. The one I just finished watching is one that takes place in a hotel for ghosts.
Yes, we've talked about this on
Go
the podcast.
on.
Stop it.
I know.
We have had this conversation.
No, I love it. We've had this conversation. You know this conversation. But from the
It's a
Joseon
little
period,
like Groundhog
from
Day.
the Joseon period
Oh, yeah, those
Korean history,
wide-brimmed...
women didn't wear hats. It was just men, and men wore these crazy horsehair hats. And
weren't
depending on your rank in society, your hat would be bigger or smaller. And it was all to cover the top knot.
And this is what it's like in a hotel on a television show?
No. This isn't in the hotel. This
Welcome
is
to the Hotel
actually
South
just a
Korea.
historic period in Korea.
Oh, there's a ghost from this particular historic
Well, this is
time.
just through different. I've just watched a couple other historic dramas
It's the
as well.
Korean Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
I've watched a whole bunch of Korean dramas now.
Have you seen the first shop of Coffee Prince?
I haven't watched that one. No.
Oh, I highly recommend it.
I will watch that one. Thank you.
I think you'll enjoy.
Armand,
I hope
what?
you'll enjoy.
Tell me about the first shop of Coffee Prince, Armand.
Oh, it's a delight. It's a sort of like Shakespearean gender swapping romantic comedy where,
Like a 12th night, if you will.
yeah, totally. Where like this guy he's like, the rich son of a wealthy family. And like his grandmother keeps trying to set him up on arranged dates. And he's like, I don't want any of that. I'm going to act like I'm gay and date this random delivery dude. But of course, it turns out that the delivery dude is in fact a delivery lady who is, just sort of masculine, I guess. And so he's like, haha, I'm just all like acting like I'm gay. And then he actually falls in love with her/him. And then, of course, she's scared to reveal. Well, anyway, I won't spoil anything else, but the feelings will be had.
Mistaken
it's great.
gender,
It's very
secret
charming.
identities. It's fantastic.
It's everything you want. It's super cute.
Are there faked pregnancies and fake deaths as well?
No faked pregnancies, but there might be a fake death.
Oh, yes!
I don't remember, but
And this is called First Shop of Coffee Prince? What is
Yeah.
this called?
first shop of
Little
Coffee
shop
Prince.
of Coffee Prince.
Why is it called that? Why is that the name of the show?
Because as part of his like establishing himself as like, an independent man, he starts a coffee shop staffed only by like handsome, charming prince fellows. And so all the
Oh.
ladies show up and are like, ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo.
Oh,
and
hello there. I like it.
ogling the beefcake. And
It
it's
goes
really
against the trend of the tea house girls. I like it.
yeah, it's exactly. The gender swapped version of that.
Okay, so Sweet Vermouth on the Rocks. Let's talk about it. What?
Yeah.
It would be
let's
called.
get into it.
It would be called the Rita, which is the name of her character. I assume. It would
No,
be
it's
called
just
the
sweet
Rita.
vermouth on the rocks.
With a twist.
Yeah,
A twist of what?
Lemon.
Lemon? Okay, I meant
Dry vermouth.
No, it's sweet vermouth.
Well, the
no,
twist.
but with a twist.
I
of
get now.
dry-
Yeah. Well, no, because really good vermouth is totally drinkable. Like the sweeter vermouth, you just drink it on its own. It's not like the vermouth that you add to a martini. It's really quite lovely. It's got a roundness to the flavor.
Next week, this is my promise to you, listener. I'm going to be in here drinking a Sweet Vermouth on the Rocks with a twist as we record next week's show.
I think you can top someone who's thankful for world peace by being thankful for like the cosmic miracle of existence.
Oh, like that's better than
Yeah. I don't know if it's better, but it's definitely it's even grander in
it
in
makes you
scope.
sound very deep.
I'm just grateful for you.
Oh,
right.
we're
That's
going
bringing it
macro
back to the local,
micro.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, we just with the depth of field just
Yeah.
It turns out that just being nice to people and being thankful for good things is actually just like a nice way to be nice to people. I think is the lesson that we've all learned today.
Yeah.
And that's been
It
our
should
show.
be
Thanks,
nice.
everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
No, that's not what our show is. That's a different show.
But it's such a good one. Can't we steal it?
Mr. Roger Dungeon Crawl.
Okay.
I want to watch that.
Yeah, I would go to there.
Can we please go on a dungeon crawl with Daniel Tiger? Oh my god!
Yeah. Yeah, we could totally do that.
Oh my God. Trying to make Daniel Tiger themed characters is funny. It's a funny bit. This is a spin-off. Can we do this on Twitch sometime? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think we can. Are we doing this using Pathfinder second edition rules? Like, is it going to be the Daniel Tiger like fighting slimes and like ripping the head off of a goat demon?
Oh, for
and stuff
sure,
like
for
that?
sure. You're
Okay.
putting them
Yeah.
straight into Pathfinder world.
What are the names of the king and the queen from the original one?
King Friday and Queen
Queen-
Sarah.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
Funny story about Mr. Rogers. When I was a little kid, I took my mother's lipstick and colored all over the TV to like block out the television screen because, as my mother later asked me, I don't like that Rogers fellow.
Oh, wow. You were anti-Rogers.
I was anti-Rogers.
You were the only one.
That's amazing.
He was too nice. He was hiding
Don't
something.
Like that
I
Rogers
don't like that
fellow.
Rogers fellow. It's nice to have the episode title
Yeah.
out this early. To world peace, everyone.
Yeah.
World peace.
It's a world peace.
Does Daniel Tiger get a bite attack?
I don't know. Do catfolk get bite-up attacks?
Yeah, most animals do. Interesting. Huh.
I think that we actually do have to do this now. We do
Yeah, we
have
just
to
play
do
the
like
game.
a one shot on Twitch of I'll just throw you
Oh,
guys in a
yes.
meat grinder
Yes.
with the various Mr. Rogers themed characters.
Yes,
Delightful.
absolutely.
So
I'm
into
in.
it.
Okay,
Here for
great.
it.
Well, listener, I hope you enjoyed that sort of scattershot potpourri of an opening segment. I thought that was a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on now to something that is near and dear to my heart, which is reviews.
Aw.
I want to thank everybody who has taken a moment to leave a review of Tabletop Gold at their podcast app of choice. Like, for instance, Akavakaku, who left a review on iTunes. A good that time, they say.
Aw.
Good that time to you, friend.
A good
And they
that
say
time
that they
to
started
you,
listening to get some
Akavakaku.
perspective on the Abomination Vault adventure, and it turned out to be a great podcast to listen to as well. Very lovely, very kind, very generous, very nice. It wasn't a toast to world peace, but pretty close.
We're grateful. We're
Thank you.
grateful for you.
Thank you, Akavakaku, for getting it done and for helping us out. I really appreciate it. Now, what do you say? We get into it and we play our game.
Yes.
You've spent a month preparing to return to the dungeon below Gauntlight to put a final stop to Belcora Haravex's destructive plans. But the people of Otari, believing the threat over, have prematurely celebrated with the Otari Memorial 500, a garish exhibition of poorly conceived monuments for the town's recently rediscovered founder. When the event fell to disaster, in no small part your doing, the mayor's ambitious and intelligent daughter, Doriana, having fallen asleep during her father's speech, let forth a blood-curdling scream and collapsed to the ground, suddenly pale and gaunt.
You're not saying we did that too.
I don't know.
We don't
Did
know
you?
yet. We
Maybe
don't
the
know.
town thinks that we did.
So we're picking up in the aftermath of this. It was this tense moment. Mag told this truth about the death of Otari Ilvashti, that his death was imminentized by the fireball cast by his friend Zarmavdian, not by Belcora Haravex. Chaos broke out. We saw this tower of adamantine that Rab Chertel, one of the lumber barons in town, had made, dismantled and vandalized by Ao. And all of this chaos was disrupted by this scream from Doriana. So the tone right now is strange. Out of your eye, you're able to see that Rab Chertel is fuming. He's silently staring daggers at you. It looks like his head is about to pop. A number of people in the crowd are looking at Chertel and openly mocking him. The ease with which Ao dismantled his family's monument suggests that he was attempting to pass something far cheaper off as adamantine.
Oh, ho, ho.
And with that, his relationship with the party dips down to unfriendly. He's no longer indifferent to you. He now dislikes you.
Boo.
Alimora Inkelholtz has rushed to the side of Doriana, perhaps, partially due to the fact that Doriana is a star student at the school that Alimora runs in town. And Menhemez looks upset. In the moments before Doriana started screaming, he also had a stormy look, looking at you with frustration that you interrupted his speech. But now he has fallen to his knees to try to care for his daughter. What are you going to do?
I think Vadim's medic training would kick in, and he'd dash over to Doriana's side and say, "Everybody get back. Give her some air. We need space."
And a ring of people back away and pushing chairs out of the way. So right now there's a wide gap about 7 feet around Doriana and Osif, her father, kneeling to look at her. Vadim, as he approaches, hears Menhemez, hears Osif saying to her, "It's okay, sweetheart, it's okay." And he looks up to the sky and starts praying. He says, "Erastil, please give her your strength." And as Vadim approaches, he sees that Doriana looks pale. Her skin and her hair both look a little bit dirty, and she looks thinner than you would expect. If you'd like to take a closer look at her, though, you can give me a medicine check.
Yeah, I absolutely would, if I may. That's a 19 on the die for a 31.
Okay. You spend a couple minutes looking over Doriana, and this change to her skin color and the fact that she looks a little emaciated are the only thing that jump out at you medically. Aside from that, she looks like she is otherwise in good physical health. Osif looks at Vadim and says, "Well, what's wrong with her? What's going on?"
Medically, she's just looks like she's a little thin and emaciated and pale. I don't think there's anything actually wrong with her from a physical standpoint, but perhaps Trill, you might be able, or Norman, Ao, you might be able to look at her.
And Ao says, coming crawling out of a tent with like kind of dust and debris on her.
Ao, maybe take off the kobold outfit. This is serious.
Oh, and she like peels back her mask. It's just kind of resting on top of her head with her snout sticking out.
Much better. Thank you so much.
So as the rest of you rush forward to this, to investigate this scene, Doriana starts moving around like she is okay. She's awake again. And Osif looks at the four of you and says, I told you earlier that she's really been having some trouble now that her schooling is about to end. For the last few weeks, she's been having some nightmares, but I didn't think that there would be anything. I just didn't realize how bad it was.
So Trill goes up to Doriana and wants to detect magic on her.
So as Trill walks up and detects magic, she sees that there is a faint magical aura coming off of the stuffed griffin that Doriana had been holding
Like her being
with her.
That was odd that she was carrying that.
And as Trill detects that sort of magical aura on the griffin, Doriana pipes up and she says, yes, I have been having more nightmares. That's true. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, Daddy. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt this. And she looks around and sees like the horror on everybody's faces. And she looks like really overwhelmed by the pressure of this moment.
Trill notices how nervous Doriana looks and takes Doriana by the eyes.
Why don't we go into the tent and try and calm down in there for the moment?
And takes Doriana by the arm and guides her into the Menhemez tent.
You're looking for a little bit of privacy.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely space here in the graveyard for that.
And Trill kind of tilts her head towards the rest of the crew to come along.
I think before leaving the main area, and perhaps while some of the healing or the magic detecting is going on, I think Mag would want to scan the crowd for any sign of like unusual characters, physical. Did someone just, do a blow dart into this girl, like a physical attack, an ambush? So I don't know if this is perception, survival, this kind of thing.
This is going to be perception. Give it to me blind. So it's like the first thing that Mag does when she comes over, as Vadim finishes doing this medical examination, as Trill starts trying to get Doriana into a less compressed place. Like Mag does the thing like in movies about the Secret Service where she's like scanning the crowd looking for
sabotage.
shifty characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a blind perception.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so Mag scans around and nobody jumps out at her. Everybody looks shocked. The only person who doesn't look shocked is Rab Trottel, who looks mad. But you don't see any sign of any sort of guilty party in the audience, in the crowd. Nobody's running away. Nobody is trying to. Everybody seems genuinely concerned for Doriana. Aside from Mag, who has had this sort of past negative experience with Doriana when she was doing work at Doriana's classroom, this is not a person who has enemies around town, and you don't see any indication of any malfeasance.
Okay.
One last thing before we follow Doriana. Vadim might suggest to Mayor Menhemiz that they let the crowd disperse or make the crowd disperse before.
Go check out the new statue. I think everyone's really going to like it. Really melds everyone's ideas. Kobolds aren't monsters.
So as Trill sort of works to decompress the situation, getting Doriana to some privacy, the mayor nods at Vadim as the rest of you sort of peel off and start following, and he puts on his politician's face. You see a instantaneous shift in the mayor's projection of himself, where he just says, "Well, everybody, I thank you for the for your participation and for celebrating the great Otari Ilvashti. May he forever rest. Here, we're going to get to modifying these monuments. Great job, everybody. Everybody wins. The town of Otari comes together once more. The force of unity connects us more strongly than the bonds of. Okay, everybody have a good time." And
everyone departing could swear they sort of heard a whisper, maybe through casting the biting word spell, of someone going, The unity of the town rests in nothing but kobolds. There's like one last seller's message whispered out to them as they all linger away.
Some subliminal marketing being subjected to the crowd.
The good people of
it.
Otari.
I love it.
The overlay of magic casting and marketing had never occurred to me until right this minute. But
underexplored.
yeah, this is fascinating, fertile ground.
You know who's going to break some new turf? Aokio. Sorry.
That's who.
That's who.
Yeah, that's who. That's the person.
So with all of that done, Trill and Doriana finally settle down in one of the still extant tents, and Doriana looks towards Trill and says, I didn't mean to do anything. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we know that.
Can you tell my dad that I...
Oh, of course. And I know he knows. He always talks about how hard you try to do everything and what a wonderful daughter you are. He thinks you're fantastic. You look really tired. You've been having nightmares a lot recently, I heard?
Yeah. Maybe for the last few weeks. It started slowly, but at this point, maybe every night. And at this point, the rest of the party and the mayor have worked their way over. And she says, I can never remember them, though.
They're bad enough that they wake you up.
Well, I don't know that that's ever happened before now. I just know that when I wake up, the only thing I can remember is that I just feel so afraid. And there's a man in the dream. Wearing funny clothes.
Like pirate clothes?
No, not exactly pirate clothes. Just
How? Like old-fashioned?
no, just mismatched fabric. Like
Motley?
Like motley?
And her eyes open wide open. That's what he calls himself.
Really?
He's the Motley Man.
Not Motley Crue. It's not multiple people.
Vince Neil is not there. Tommy
What
Lee
about
is
Nikki
there.
Sixx?
Nikki Sixx is there. That's why I screamed.
I don't blame you.
He looks like a skeleton and has done so for 50 years.
And yet doesn't age.
The motley
No,
man.
I think he got all his aging done in his 20s.
Early. Yeah, it's a Benjamin
all those
Button type
drugs.
thing in a different way. Those
Yeah.
drugs.
It's a Button variant.
Benjamin Button variant, by the way.
It's a BBVD.
Definitely some kind of VD.
There's something there.
And the mayor looks torn between wanting to sort of sweep her troubles under the rug, but then he looks at the four of you and he trusts you.
Trill kind of puts her hand to the side, trying to stop him.
And I don't think you even have to. You see like maybe a glimmer of him about to be like, now Dorian, but he doesn't follow through with it.
Now, Doriana, tell me about this stuffed animal you're holding. You're almost done with school. You seem, and I don't mean this to be insulting at all, but you seem a little old to be carrying around a stuffed animal.
The mayor interrupts and he says, I was wondering about that as well. She hasn't played with that thing at all until recently. She went back to it, but like I told you, she's having a little bit of trouble saying goodbye to her classwork and moving on, and she's not a little girl anymore.
Let's let Doriana speak for herself.
Doriana says, I just like it. It was always my favorite, the griffin.
Do you mind if I hold it?
Sure. And she hands it over to you. Armet, what are you saying?
Can Vadim try and rack his brain and recall knowledge to see if he knows anything about a motley man or a figure of that kind in like maybe religion?
Sure. Give me a blind religion check.
You got it.
So as Doriana hands this griffin doll over to Trill, Vadim searches his thoughts, his training, his experience for any indication of anything close to the Motley Man, and he has no idea.
Was the Motley Man a constellation? Is this finally Ao's moment to use the astrology lore?
Yeah, give me astrology lore. Give me a blind astrology lore check.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. It's going to be great.
So Ao searches her thoughts to think if she's ever heard anything of any sort of heavenly body known as the Motley Man. And she comes back empty as well.
Wouldn't she in theory learn two things?
And also she does know the Motley Man.
Motley Man is something.
She has no idea, and also it's the name of a star.
All right.
All right. Very good.
All right.
Dubious.
So as Trill holds this, Trill wants to read aura on this doll.
So before Trill gets the chance to read aura, Trill feels that this doll of a griffin there's something hard inside of it. Like it looks like a plush toy, but you get the sense that there's been something sewn into it.
This isn't just a doll. There's something inside. It's hard on the inside.
No, I don't think so.
No, there's definitely something hard inside. Mag, you're the crafter. Mag, come take a look at this.
Mag removes her crafter's eyepiece from a pouch at her belt and takes the griffin doll from Trill and feels it gingerly with her fingertips while also examining the outside. And when she reaches this harder piece, she begins trying to feel its shape or contours or see if there's any like outward manifestation of what this thing is.
Sure. So Mag taking a look at this stuffed doll, looking for any signs of tampering or any kind of like suggestion of any kind of interference with it. She sees no such indication. And as she rolls the stuffed griffin around in her hands, she feels that there's just something large and hard in the middle of it. Like there's no hard part. The whole thing has something hard inside of it.
Right.
I mean, I feel bad asking if we can open this because this is clearly something that's very important to you.
The mayor says, just go ahead and open it.
Okay. Who's got a sharp knife here?
Oh, I can help with that. Vadim pulls one of the many knives he has secreted around himself.
Just do it along the seam so it's, easy to fix back up.
Of course. And delicately opens it up so as not to make re-sewing issue.
So you feel all of the stitches pop gently one after another as Vadim glides this knife through and then peels the griffin open and sees inside of it a large, flawless ruby.
You didn't notice that this was inside your doll the whole time?
That's flawless, Ao says, and sort of walks over and stares at
The mayor is shocked. He says, "There's no way that's always been in there. When we got that for her, I'm sure I would have noticed something like that." And Doriana is just shocked. She's like, "What?
Doriana, where? So you found this? You just went and got it from somewhere in your house? You didn't? No one in your house gave it back to you? You just found it like in the attic or in your room?"
It was in a stack on a sofa on the other side of my room, and I guess all of my childhood toys have been there, and I hadn't played with it for quite a while, but yeah, I just one day I decided to pick it up again.
And just this one? Did it call to you or something? What made you want to pick up this one?
No, I just felt like I hadn't played with it lately, and I wanted to play with it again. It's a really nice toy.
Okay, guys, there's something going on weird here, right? Trill says to everyone else.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Sometimes Ao says, still like holding the stone up to light. Fate finds us. She's trying to figure out what's going on with this ruby. I don't know. Occult check. What's the right thing to run on this?
Yeah, give me a blind occultism check, please. Ao takes a look at this ruby, and other than the fact that it is, it's a deep red that obscures the light somewhat, beautifully cut, sharp edges, just a perfect ruby. And she doesn't have much of a sense of any significance of it beyond that. Although it certainly strikes you as strange that this thing would be in this doll.
And also it's a star.
Right. Also, it is in space.
Can Trill read an aura on this since you haven't let her read aura on it yet?
Sure, you can read aura on it.
Because I had
no
detected
problem.
magic on it before.
Yes.
Now I want to know more about that magic.
Trill spends a minute casting read aura and looking at this ruby. She gets the sense that there's some enchantment magic on it.
Oh, okay, so it's definitely enchanted. Hey, this has got to be what's causing her bad dreams. This has got to be connected to some sort of connection to this Motley Man?
Oh, the Motley Man.
The Motley Man.
Where did you say he lived, Fitziem?
Drury Lane, I believe. Yeah. Do you know him?
And Doriana says, no, you know what? I think that's actually not right.
Oh, I must be thinking of someone else.
Must be Muffin Lane.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Oh. Do you mind if we take this and leave the doll with you?
The mayor says, please do that. Whatever this is, if this is the cause for any of what she's going through right now, please, I don't want it. He says, and Doriana's like, I don't want that. I'm so confused.
So we'll take this. We'll see if we can figure out where on earth this is from. And you keep an eye on Doriana and see if the dreams go away once this goes away.
Yes, that sounds good.
So we'll check in with y'all once she's recovered in a couple of days and y'all have gotten a chance to check out what I did with those other statues. I think the town is really going to like it. And AO starts sort of like backing off, calmly but slowly.
The mayor grits his teeth at you as you do that.
And I guess as everyone else files out to clear this hazardous stone, Mag lingers for just a moment with the mayor and with Doriana, who has done Mag this disrespect in the past. And Mag cuts an intimidating and towering figure over the two of them, over Doriana especially, who is still a child, if soon to be a young adult. And she crosses her arms and she fixes Doriana with a penetrating stare and then turns and leaves.
And before Mag turns, Doriana, of course, flinches. She turns her head away. Mag hears as Mag leaves, sort of softly, Doriana say, "Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you." And she just doesn't know what to say to you.
And Mag pauses briefly in the doorway to this tent with her back to the two of them, and she draws a slow, intense, and patient breath. You're welcome, Doriana. And leaves. Because as Mitch Hedberg says, you should never get in an argument in a tent because you can't slam a flap.
Agreed. Can't slam a flap.
Amazing.
God, he was amazing.
So with the strangeness of this event now completely behind you, it's starting to warm up. It's another late spring day here at the 24th of Desnes. It's around 2:00 in the afternoon by the time all of this excitement has finished up. What are you going to do with the rest of this day? You've been able to, over the last month, retrain certain things. You've gone shopping. You've re-outfitted yourself. And this, as far as I know, is the last commitment that the party has in town. So what's next?
Well, Trill is still holding this ruby and staring at it with a really confused look on her face. Just lips pursed, really frustrated that she can't figure out what it is or what it's doing or why it's done it.
So what is it? How does it work? Like, I think the idea that it's magic, but none of the magicking people will know what to do with it is sort of like Mag's out of her depth here.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, maybe the way she looked, this has to do. I don't know how. I don't know how it could have ended up in her room, and I don't know how it has to do with the lighthouse, but something in me tells me we have to take this with us back to the lighthouse.
Is there anywhere we've seen that where we would place it or
There
return
were
it?
those, the soul stone and Mr. B. I mean, this doesn't seem to be the same, but there were those machines, and we have that book about the flesh warping, and I don't.
Maybe Rin or Morlibint or Karl might know.
Well, why don't we go to Rin's?
Oh, that'd be great.
And then we can make a plan for when we want to head off.
Oh, if we go there, I'm gonna have to clean up my room and do the dishes, though. You sure you don't want to talk to Carl?
I'd be happy to help you with the dishes if it would enable us
Rin
to
will
identify.
totally not allow that, though.
Your priorities shift so suddenly.
Well, yeah, it's a whole new day, man. And Ale marches off to Rin's, inexplicably.
Is everybody else following AO or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Of course.
Let's do
The
it.
moody teenager.
Rin, I'm gonna do the dishes. Got a question, though.
Rin steps out and she says, "Oh, finally, you're going to do those dishes."
But first, I'll go do them, but they want to talk to you. We got this ruby, and she tosses the ruby sort of at Rin.
And Rin takes a step back and does not catch the ruby and lets the ruby land on a
It
pillow.
shatters.
It shatters. It blows up. You die.
Oh, damn it.
But she lets it land on a pillow and she says, "I am absolutely not touching whatever that is."
It's from the stars, right? I knew it, Ao says, wandering off to the kitchen.
And she creeps forward and looks at it cautiously, her large, opaque eyes sort of focusing hard on this red ruby as it catches the daylight through an opening in her tent.
Do you know what it is? All I can tell is that it was giving Doriana Menemes nightmares, and it's got some enchantment on it, and that's as far as I can get with it.
You believe this is what caused Doriana to have that episode?
Yeah, and weird saggy skin, Ao yells from the kitchen.
Don't look, you make more of a mess when you clean the dishes than there is before the dishes start getting cleaned.
Well, whatever. You can't have it both ways. I'm doing it, okay?
Okay.
You told me I had to, so I'm doing it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Teenagers, am I right?
You are right. She's not always. She's not always like this. Sometimes
she's Norman.
You're right. Let's see if my knowledge of the occult will get me anywhere with this. And she takes a close look at this ruby. And I just did a blind occultism check, by the way. And she says, I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before.
Maybe Trill should do an occultism check, which she hasn't done yet on this thing.
Oh, I thought that was kind of rolled up into the... No, all we've done is read aura.
No, Trill hasn't done an occultism check on it.
Let's do it. Let's get the occultism master in there.
And Trill kind of starts turning it around a little bit more. Maybe if I just haven't looked at it from this angle yet. Is this going to include the boost from the... Yeah, this includes the pendant. Okay.
Trill, in that
yes, because
down
we
month,
added a pendant of the
bought
occult.
a pendant of the occult just in time for this check.
Yes.
And doesn't she have oddity identification?
This is
too?
not writing. Stop it.
I mean, it seems odd.
It does seem quite odd.
It does. This does
Really
seem like oddity
odd.
identification.
And Trill is just as stumped as everyone else.
Ah!
Womp womp.
Bad roll. That's so annoying.
So the group, along
Even
with
with a
Rin
plus 12.
Savinxi, is standing in this shop that sells all of these magical curiosities. And in the center of the room, resting on a golden and green threaded pillow, is this red ruby that nobody has any accounting of what it is for, what it does, where it comes from or how it works.
So we know that it's magic, and we know that it freaks Rin out, and we have some reason to believe that it has caused the strange, like, temporary withering that we saw of Doriana, which Vadim's knowledge of medicine suggests to us it was more of like a surface transformation than it was like a permanent physical injury. So we sort of like know it's bad, but I think Mag's instinct would be to keep taking it to other places in town to try to get some other traction. Like, she might want to take it to the druids. It doesn't sound like it's a druid thing. She might want to take it to Vandy at the Dawnflower Library to see if Vandy has. I mean, I don't know if what everybody else thinks, but this would seem like a pretty hot item.
So Mag can spend the rest of the day bringing this ruby from place to place to place. It seems as though Rin is the closest to having any sense of what this is. I think a lot of the people around town have the sense to know this is not a good object, and they similarly don't want anything to do with it as Rin, but none of them even know where to start with this thing. You get answer after answer after answer as you bring this ruby of concern about Doriana, but nobody has any suggestions for what it might mean. I think maybe a number of people suggest that, why even look into this? You've resolved the issue. You've gotten whatever it is taken care of. Doriana's going to be fine. Everything's fine.
The nice thing is, I feel like this wouldn't be at all triggering for Mag, right? Having a bunch of people hand wave at her and tell her it's fine. She senses imminent danger.
Right. You're worrying too much.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, and they're trying to talk to Mag in a respectful way, but it certainly is pushing Mag's buttons.
Yes.
I would guess.
Yeah. So,
but they're trying not to, but they're not succeeding.
It's a great point, Zoe. So by the end of the day, Mag is in what can only be described as her typical ruminative funk.
Stay away from trees, please.
Oh, there's definitely some newly felled trees out by the stone circle. As a result of half a dozen dismissive interactions with various people in town. By the time she gets out to the druids, she just hauls off and has a couple of punches at some young elms, just to take the edge off.
Please stop punching my elms. Please do not punch the elms.
That's really good.
They have been growing for hundreds of years.
The spirits of the trees cry out in pain.
As Mag is out all day, would Trill have been able to be going through books maybe at Rin's, trying to look through anything to get a chance to do another occult check, or is it one and done?
I think Trill's got the information she's going to have to figure out what it is that she can know, what it is she can find out. You've got what is called in the business a dead lead right now.
Dead lead. Can we, I don't know, is there anyone that any of us knows that we could write to?
Wait.
I don't know, send word.
Oh my gosh, where's Fidget?
Ah! Well, let me take a look at this thing as he busts through the door like the Kool-Aid Man.
He's been sitting at Crow's Cast just getting
Trill brings it
hammered
to
all
Fidget
day.
at the bar, yeah.
Just playing.
Oh. Well, this is quite interesting indeed, isn't it? Lucky for you, I have the same occultism modifier as Rin Savinci.
Yes. Hopefully you get a better roll, too.
He looks at this ruby and he says, and he drops it to the bar and it clatters on the bar. And he says, you should stop touching this object.
Oh.
This is quite horrible indeed. And he looks at you and he whispers, he looks away from you and whispers a word. Lange.
L-E-N-G?
Yes, L-E-N-G, Lange. As he snaps his head back and looks at Vadim.
Oh, I thought you said my last name. Robin
Lange. Stop asking for more occultism checks.
But I love occultism checks. We finally got one and it was so hard. L-E-N-G?
Yes.
Lange.
Does that mean anything to,
Lange?
I don't know, society, religion?
Is
What
it
are
a
we-
constellation?
It's occultism. He says, Lang, I can just keep talking if you want me to.
Yes.
Oh, great.
That'll be
Lange. I don't. Do I remember? And she'll kind of knits her brows together as she always does when she's a little confused. And I don't remember you telling me anything about Lange.
I've only heard of such a thing as this. He looks at it closely, being careful not to touch it as it's sitting on the bar. He says, this ruby I have heard of. There are rubies carried by people who live in another dimension. Past the dimension of dreams, there's a small but malevolent plane known as Lange. And the so-called denizens of Lange carry rubies with them and use them to perform magic. But what is something like this doing in front of me at a bar like this one?
Well, that's a great question. What was this doing inside of Doriana Menemez's doll?
I don't know. Talk to me with respect, goddammit.
I thought we were friends.
No, that's merely my teaching style.
How much have these two had to drink?
He says, I have no concept of how such a thing got here, but it is very important that this not be anywhere near anybody. This is bad.
So what do we do with this? Do we take this back to the keep to a place that's even more evil? Do we bring something evil to a place that's evil?
As they're bantering back and forth, Norman in sort of a dishwasher's outfit comes in. And he's feeling really sarcastic about what Ao has just had to undergo. So he walks into, in my mind, they're in Crow's Cask where Fidget has been drinking all day.
Absolutely.
He walks in, he's like, it's me, Norman, the guy who loves doing dishes. Oh, are we still talking about this pretty thing? And he goes in to scoop up the ruby.
No!
And Fidget backs up and he says, honestly, I think that's the best possible idea. At least the four of you can perhaps handle the power of this thing better than any of these people. And you look around the bar and you see like a bunch of half-drunk, like absolute morons, like having a rowdy afternoon after this, like all laughing about the aftermath of this, of like Rab Turtel's embarrassing monument reveal.
But maybe we wrap it in a bag rather than holding it with our bare hands.
I mean, after the rotten raw chicken I just scraped off of 8-day-old plates, this is nothing. Am I right? Am I right?
You haven't done the dishes in 8 days?
I don't think you're right, but sure, go ahead, put it in a bag.
Mag? What kind of bags we got in that bag?
Mag has.
Do we have that little tote that had the ruby that we got sewn onto it, just in case we found like a weird occult ruby from Lange that we could? Do you have the Lange ruby tote?
Yeah, hang on. So inside the bag of holding, there is a large drawstring pouch. And on that drawstring pouch is a picture of a small drawstring pouch. And inside the large drawstring pouch are a number of small drawstring pouches
With different pictures on them?
for very specialized storage. And one of those has a very small glyph of a cursed ruby. And so Mag withdraws the cursed ruby pouch from the pouch from within the bag of holding. She gives it to Ao.
Thanks.
Excellent.
And you're able to scoop it up and get it in the pouch, no problem.
You'll keep this in your bag, right?
Sure, yeah. It'll have to go in the full drawstring
Yeah.
Bag.
I get the filing system,
Bag.
and Norman, still in bold sarcastic mode, kind of just shoves it in the bag, ignoring anything having to
Oh.
do with the draw.
God. Well, now it's ended up over by the furniture.
It's a 9 out of 10 chair. It can take it. All right. So I think we got this magic ruby. It seems like, according to you, Mr. Fidget, it's fine. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of tired of this town. I'm tired of the dishes. I'm tired of the cleaning up. What do you say we go stir up some trouble back at that there lighthouse?
I was actually thinking maybe not a terrible idea to head over in the evening.
Oh, yeah. I would love to get back in there.
Unless Mag wants to rearrange the bag of holding a little bit more.
I can do that. I can do that on the way.
Also, the Plateau of Lange is from Lovecraft. I love it.
This is a highly Lovecraftian situation you guys have found yourselves thrown into.
So fucking weird. Is Plateau of Lange where the cats are from?
The cats.
Sorry, we're getting it off. Lars is going to kill me.
Ulthar is where the cats are from, I think.
You fool, that's Ulfar.
So on the way up to the dungeon, I think Mag would ask Trillfus, please keep an eye out for any signs of change or anything unusual with me while I carry this stone. If it exerts some sort of malign power, and if over time it came to affect Doriana in this way, I wonder whether it could have that effect on us.
Hopefully it's just when we're sleeping. But yeah, absolutely.
I have had some bad dreams as well. So this is a good thing to stay in contact about, I think.
Oh, let's not talk about our dreams.
And Trill keeps walking.
So you approach, for the first time in just around a month, you approach the now dormant lighthouse. Of course, you know that deep below the areas that you have so far explored, that there is this greater danger lurking somewhere. You walk up the hill, through the forest, through the swamp, towards the ruins. Where would you like to begin your investigation of this area as the clock approaches 5 o'clock in the evening?
Briefly, as they get up to the gauntlet, Norman, who's been in sort of salty, sarcastic Norman mode, as they get to the door, he goes, no. Said I'd do this as AO. And he turns back into AO going in.
Oh, it's nice to see you again, Ao.
Always nice to see you.
So, I do have this ritual that would allow us to get those portals working again so we could move through the rows, the levels a little faster. But we don't do this right now. But we could do it now. What do you guys think?
I think it'd be worth doing the ritual, and I think Vadim would probably chime in support of that.
Is there any risk associated with it? Like, weren't there two
Almost
things?
certainly.
Yeah, weren't there two things that the portals could do? You can move between them, or like, I guess I can't.
Oh,
David.
no. That came from a dubious knowledge joke that they would either
that they were
incinerate
also
us or move
annihilation
us. I
chambers.
think that they weren't. I think we have maybe subsequently decided they did. Well, we don't know, but my guess is the ritual, being from this book of horrors, probably bears some cost. But I feel like,
So here's the story with the ritual. It takes an hour to do. There needs to be one primary spellcaster, and you can have a number of other people supporting. The story is basically that mechanically, the primary spellcaster makes either an arcana or an occultism check. Any secondary caster can make an arcana or occultism check, whichever, can make the same kind of check to try to give the primary caster a bonus to their roll. And if you succeed, you awaken the portal. If you critically succeed, you awaken the portal better in ways that I'll explain later. If you fail, the portal does not open and you become stupefied for 24 hours from the magical backlash. And if you critically fail, the portal does not open, and you accidentally summon a monster through the portal that then attacks you.
Awesome.
Are you also stupefied then?
Yes.
Nice.
Great question.
Seems worth knowing.
I think it's worth doing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Trill would know all this, or
Yeah,
It's
Trill
in
would
the
know all
margins.
this. She's gotten a detailed description of how this ritual works.
like what would be the rationale for doing it? Like we just don't feel like walking somewhere, or we think it's going to lead us somewhere else.
So Trill knows from the description of the ritual that that you can essentially build a network of the portal rooms that you've already seen. So this isn't going to take you anywhere else. It's just going to save you time moving through the dungeon, and it's going to take an hour to do each portal.
So we have to do it for every single portal that we've seen?
For every single portal that you want to awaken, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
But there might come a time later where something awful is chasing us, and the ability to ping quickly between floors is super valuable. Like, it's a little silly now, but I could see some time where we like get up to floor 5 and something, I
Or
don't know.
there's something timely happening, and this is a way to like escape, run away.
Or get down to a lower level when we might need to do something time sensitive.
So if this is what you guys want to do, here's what I'm going to say. I am going to, controversial choice perhaps, hand wave the first 4 floors of portals.
Fantastic.
Love it.
I was like, this sounds so tedious.
I'm going to say that we jump forward an hour per floor, okay? And that you spend the early part of this evening up until about 8 o'clock at night establishing a portal. The energies, the cosmic energies of the portal come back online. Those silver runes flash to life again as strange glowing electricity starts flowing through this room that has been dormant forever.
And fair to just make them all just basic successes because we're just getting them for freebie.
It super doesn't matter.
Excellent. Love
There's
it.
no special thing about a critical success. It gives you multiple days. It's nonsense. Don't worry about it. The portal on the 3rd floor is connected to, if you recall, that room where you left Augriel that the light used to be moving through. The
All right.
so-called spa on the 3rd floor. So in order for you to get access to that room, you find yourself face to face with your old friend. You notice that there are books strewn across the room. Books that you haven't seen before. You get the sense that perhaps Augriel has been reading books here in the darkness over the last month since you last saw him.
Oh, yeah. We've left him alone for a long time now.
And Augriel steps forward out of the darkness as he sees you approach.
I've been doing some reading.
And he looks to Vadim.
You've always said that I'm unnatural, and I never really knew what you meant. But I see it now. First I followed Gralgust when he felt the call of Belcora. Then I followed you. Then I followed that light. And now I feel something deep below, pulling at me. Like the quicksand pits in our old home in the Darklands.
Well,
Maybe I wasn't meant to go any further.
and he looks at Vadim.
And after reading through the Whispering Reeds, I think Vadim would look very seriously at Augriel. Say, I suspect what you are feeling is the Temple of Nimbleoth. Nimbleoth is a goddess who consumes predators of the undead. You have, by being in this place, become like her, and then I imagine in some way your ability to feed on other ghouls is an aspect of her power. This is what I suspect draws you down.
I think you may be right. I didn't know that name, of course. But I've been thinking a lot. And that sounds like it makes sense. I've been reading these books. You know, there's a lot in here in this library.
He motions around to the shelves off to the north.
There's a lot in here about ways to stitch flesh to repair wounds. You know, even for those without life, like me. I find them interesting. I've been practicing a bit on myself since the light went out, and I think I understand what the books are saying, and as I read them, I feel that pull from below, the pull of the light, may be less than I did before.
Oh, no.
And I think at that, Vadim will kind of be startled a little bit, actually.
He sees that you're startled, and he steps forward and extends an arm towards you to try to soothe you.
Vadim, I think you and I have a lot in common. I know that what happened to my family is... I feel as though you've gone through something like what I've gone through. I don't believe I'm able to see things for myself clearly after the fever and after everything else that happened. I just don't know what to do. I don't know whether I should accept that my time is over now, and I should move on to the boneyard and face Pharasma's judgment, or should I follow a new path of reading these books and learning more, learning how to take care of myself and repair myself and maybe help others who find themselves in my situation? I don't want to eat the undead anymore. I'd rather help patch them up and maybe help them realize there's a way for them to exist without relying on evil. Maybe if I can free myself from this blue light, I can free others too.
So as Augriel reaches towards Vadim, I think for a moment his hands twitch towards vigilance. But as he keeps listening, something changes in his face. And he moves his hand away. And he looks very hard at Augriel.
And we will pick up from there next time.
What is going to happen?
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.